Hello there, and welcome to Andre's Artist Profile. This is an artist who holds a very special place into my heart. He's one half, officially, depending on how you look at them, of Steely Dan with Walter Becker, and upon temporarily disbanding Steely Dan, a separation that lasted about 20 years almost, Donald Fagen released his debut solo album with some of the greatest jazz funk session men in the planet, on the planet, called Nightfly in 1982. This album is a virtual hit parade, or at least it should have been. You know, IGY, New Frontier, this album, every song on this album, this is, I consider, very much a thriller type of album. You know, where every cut was either a hit or could have been a hit. Donald Fagen is a master producer, songwriter, and a lot of people think of this album as being yacht rock. I don't like that term, or elevator music or whatever, but, you know, it has a lot of soul and a lot of attitude, and I just love it, and it's really sleek and well performed and well played on. And another thing about this album, I believe it was the very first official, completely digital release in the 1980s, my understanding. So the next album actually came about a decade later, called Kamakiri. I remember this album coming out very well because he had a big hit with Tomorrow's Girls, and if I understand it, this came very close to being a Steely Dan album when a failed Walter Becker collaboration resulted in this ending up being a Donald Fagen solo album. Other than that song, On the Dunes and Florida Room are great numbers. This is just a fantastic album. A little funkier than Nightfly, actually, but still more than worthwhile. Snowbound is another beautiful song melodically, a bit of a slower number on that album. His most recent album from a couple years ago is Sunken Condos. This album sounds very much like the last two, with that strong Crusaders influence. He had another album in 2006 called Morph the Cat, which I don't have, because I think of his 4 solo records, that was probably his weakest, for one thing. So that's what I have for Donald Fagen. If you haven't heard of this guy, seek his music out, especially if you're a musician. You'll love him. Anyway, this is Andre saying, I'll see you next time.